everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mansplaining Show. There was a picture in a picture that I just put in there. I didn't know I could do that. That's interesting.
Oh,
Either way, welcome to the show, guys. It's been a week or two. We had to take I don't know. I wasn't intending on taking a week off. I just was just staying busy or whatever. I don't know. It's a weird thing. But either way, we're back. I'm your host, Dave Germain. Also with me,
I'm Jacob Hamill. Hey guys.
yep, the co-host, Jacob Hamill. Both of us here. And so this is the show, Four Guys by Dudes. It's basically two guys in their 40s talking about, trying to give advice to the 22-year-old versions of themselves. So we try to do things like, hey, we talk about how to get over like a breakup, or how to get over a girl that rejects you, or how to not be an asshole, things like that. Basically, basic stuff. Let's put it this way. If you're the type of dude to say, listen, man, I grew up without a dad. I don't need to listen to these dudes. Yes, you do. You actually do. You need to hear some guy advice because they're like, well, that sounds stupid. You're right. It is stupid. But you know what? It's good advice. So that's
Yes.
sometimes what you got to do. All
We're
right.
also trying to fight the incel battle. Like, don't be an incel.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we are at all, but I'm just saying like you don't want to be that dude. That's like fucking. That's like that's
That's a stink you're not going to wash off easily. You're going to
yeah,
need more
man.
than a
That's not
loofah. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You have to take something out of Rick and Morty and jump into a vat of acid to try to get off of that incel stink. And you're like, shit. But here's
You
the
gotta
good news
shower.
about incels, though, guys.
Yeah,
Everybody's an incel at some point.
yeah,
There's very few people on this planet that have hot and cold running sex wherever they live. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
everybody has to work for it. Everybody has to learn skills. Everybody has to learn how to communicate to varied, sets of degree of success or failure. But that's kind of the whole process of it. But yeah, either way, it's just not that you can't, like, nobody wants to have sex with you. You just haven't figured out the person who's willing to. So there's
And
that
also,
person's out there.
you're taking it personal too. When like they don't want to. When they don't want to do anything, like you can't take it personal, man. Everyone, some people do, and it's
Yeah.
like, and I wouldn't say I used to take it personal. It wasn't that I would be like mad at the person. I just would be disappointed in myself that I swung and missed. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It was like that self-loathing. That's what it was.
I had it
It
sometimes
wasn't like
where I was too excited about something. Like if I got too excited for a date and it
yeah,
canceled for any reason, I'm like, you're the one who got yourself all worked up for this, not them.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
like there's a
yeah,
collection of texts going like, "Can't wait to see you. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna rock your world." Oops, nope, I'm not. See ya. Don't call me. Lose my number. It's not like anything like that happened. It was just, see you at 3 o'clock. Yeah, cool. Can't wait to see you. 3 o'clock
yeah,
happens. Hey, I'm sorry. I hate to do this, but I can't. I'm like, oh fuck.
yeah.
I was
I
think.
honestly been I've been getting shit on like the which is okay. This is kind of funny. Like person to person, like one on one when I meet women here, like even if they're not interested, they're actually kind of polite about it, but they're very upfront. They're like,
Yeah.
no, we're good, but they're not cunts about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And but on dating apps though, my fucking god, dude, they are fucking on the defensive.
Really.
Like, yeah, oh yeah, like if you try to be cute at all, then they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" like I asked this one chick because all that she really had on there that was any kind of a conversational starter,
Yeah.
like, is that she had kids. That was really it. It was
Huh.
pretty basic, right? But so I figured, fuck it, I'll shoot. Would you match? I was like, I'll shoot her a message.
Mm-hmm.
I go, hey, how many kids you got? She's like, why are you bringing my kids into this? And I was like, what the fuck? I'm just like, yeah, I'm just trying to start a conversation, man. She's like, well, pick another topic. And I was like, all right, you know what?
Or
Have
no?
a
How
good day.
about no?
Yeah, I'm
have
just
fun.
like,
Have
fuck
fun
this.
being 40 with kids and hoping some guy's gonna fuck. Which
Yeah,
actually,
like,
that sounds really mean what I'm saying here, guys. And you're right, that is mean. But the thing is that there's this weird cross level of angst and fucking frustration that young men in their 20s who are trying to get laid and women in their 40s who are also trying to get laid, they share a lot of the same fucking angst. And
yeah,
it's weird how they say, women are never going to understand men. I'm like, no, they're not going to understand what you're going through right now. They will later. And just like you're going to understand what they went through later, because there's a certain thing is like um it's not to the extent at all that what women go through as far as like catcalling and all that other shit. Way worse than
yeah,
guys would ever get to do. But the thing is that um if you're a fairly well-to-do guy and you look like you're a good husband with and a good father, there are fucking scandalous women out there that will try to fuck up that marriage and get in there. You know what I mean? It's
Oh
not
yeah.
like they're out there, but it's like it's one of those things where like, oh no, you're definitely a target at certain points and everything. And if you're a dude who's in a really bad spot, whatever, he can get taken advantage of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Guy's
And
got low
and
T, girl comes along, freaking like, hey, you're really interesting. Suddenly his body starts producing a shitload of testosterone. He feels
yeah,
great. He's like, holy shit, maybe it's this new person. Then maybe this is the person I'm supposed to be with. All right, sorry, honey, from 20 years of marriage. Sorry, kids, you're gonna get 2 Christmases now. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be fine. And then he get hooks up with this other gal. And then like a year and a half later, his testosterone levels go right back to the way we were before when he was in before you left. It's weird. It's weird shit.
so like I'm in a certain scenario. I don't want to jinx the shit,
Okay.
honestly, but I just it's worth talking about. So I know somebody here. She's a friend of mine. We get along great. I tried. I shot my shot,
Hmm.
if you will. I did shoot my shot, but she was like I like you. You're a nice guy, but like there's some red flags, and I'm like, okay. And I asked her like what? She's like, well, you smoke, and I can't. I hate that shit. And I'm like, that's fair. I
Yeah.
can't. What the fuck am I gonna say to that?
Yeah.
That makes I, as a smoker, have made out with fellow smokers, and I understand why you don't want to do that. I
Right.
completely get it. I've kissed a girl one time, and it was like literally burying your face in a fucking ashtray, and
Right.
I get it. I get it.
The
So,
girl's like unfiltered Lucky Strikes all day, every day, just with
yeah,
black coffee.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like trying to take a sip of fucking coffee out of a quick trip fucking cup that's half full of cigarette butts.
Right. But if you saw the way
But
this girl looked in this miniskirt, you would understand like it was worth it. It was worth it. You had to go.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And,
Continue, please.
but no, but I mentioned like the whole idea of like having a friends with benefits type of situation,
Right.
and she wasn't down. She wasn't down for that. And I was just an ask. If she said no, I was like, all right, that's
All
fine.
right. Fair
And
enough.
but we're still well, like we're still in a positive. Like we still talk to each other. We're still cool.
Yeah.
Like and all that stuff. But then recently she kind of approached me and was like, hey, I might think about this whole thing you asked me about, and I was like, really. So yeah,
I'm
we're
sensing a
gonna
red flag, my friend. I'm just gonna give you.
go ahead. No,
Okay.
this is not set in stone. There's a decent chance that I might just go. I think I'm good. But go
So
ahead.
was she dating somebody else recently?
Not well. She went on like one date, I guess, a while ago.
Okay. Like
Nothing
I don't
crazy.
know if she
Like,
didn't have like a boyfriend or something like that, or.
she's got an ex-husband and shit. She's got a kid,
Oh,
but
okay.
then again, at my age, that's like kind of normal.
Hmm. Yeah, that's fair enough. On top of that, in
She's trying
Arizona,
to,
like
yeah, she's
let them know folks who don't live in Arizona, just to let you guys know that I remember this when I moved there in the '90s. It was surprising because like I went from New York City where there was a lot of girls who were working on their careers, so it was rare to find a gal unless she was like a blue collar type of gal that had a kid. But for the most part, it was all because I lived in Manhattan, so everybody there was like trying to be young professionals and all this other shit, right? I go out to move out to Arizona. Almost every gal that I talked to, my age, at the time I'm in my mid or like early 20s and stuff. There was a lot of girls that had kids out there, a lot of
yeah.
divorced moms at the age of 25 or something like that. And you're like, yeah, I've got 3 kids, and you're like, oh, okay. And you just kind of get you like, all right, interesting. But I don't know if that's just an Arizona thing or not.
It might be. I don't
Right?
know. But I mean, I'm actually digging the Arizona women over the Colorado ones. To be
Mm.
honest with you, like as a whole, I think they're better. That's just me though. I've
Eh,
only been here for a few months,
fair
but
enough.
like I don't know. That's just me. I think that. I mean,
Phoenix is more
yeah,
of a blue collar town than an affluent town. There's definitely like Scottsdale and central North Phoenix is definitely more of an upscale like Paradise Valley or the southern part of Paradise Valley. It was like that because there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of new money too. There's going to be even more because tech companies are going out there. They're gonna. I wonder if they're buying up or they're going to try to. Somebody bought that old Motorola factory that's in Mesa. That because Motorola used to have a production factory out there for their phones, and
yeah.
when they
Actually, off of the 202,
yeah.
off of the 202,
Mm,
they're building this fucking. I'm talking, dude. It's twice the size of a football stadium, like an
yeah,
NFL football. It's a huge plot of land,
yeah,
and it's a huge factory, and they're building it to make like chips and
yep,
shit.
yeah, exactly. So
So
that's going to be
yeah,
really, really big for the East Valley, man. There's a lot of opportunity for a lot of people to get some work and stuff out there because when Motorola freaking dipped out, man, and I understand why they had to do what they had to do, but
yeah,
um, it sucked. There was a lot of people that had been working at that factory for years that lived in Mesa, and when that went, like that particular part of Mesa. It's not like super ghetto. It's not like there's gunfights out there every night, but that's definitely not the part of Mesa that you want to be stuck in walking around on your when you're walking down on the road or something, you know?
As a guy who grew up on the East Coast, I saw those factory towns,
Yeah.
the aftermath of the factory town. I've seen that a lot of that.
Right.
I see, yeah, like, oh, 20 years ago, this place had like 3 times as many people, and almost everyone was above, minimum or middle class.
Mm-hmm.
And now they leave, and it becomes almost like a Detroit situation where
Yeah.
like there's nothing going on.
Okay, so the thing that kind of concerns me about this girl changing her mind, thinking that you're a good person.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, it's just the thing is, it's kind of like maybe it was one of those things where it's kind of like she had to think about what it is you guys were talking about. They're like, maybe not, or if it was something that it was just kind of like, I would question why is it like you didn't want you didn't weren't down before, but was it like a no, this isn't happening, or was it like I'm not really interested? Then like, oh, I am kind of interested. Like, well, now I'm a little confused because usually if you're interested in somebody, you would know like the first time they freaking talk to you about it. But I don't know. It was just it's weird. So I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed for you. I'm hoping everything works out well. You know, I'm always rooting
Here's the
for
thing
you.
though. Like here's the thing, right? So let's say I'd say about 5 or 6, maybe 7 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
would have done everything in my power. I would have blown by every red flag. I'd have been
Right.
like, I'm fucking ready to go. I'd be like a bull behind that door when they're
Mm-hmm.
about to pull it open during a bullfight. I'm like that bull, be like, let's fucking go. Like, I'm like hitting
Dude,
the
that's the
wall.
worst when you're into a
Yeah,
girl or something, or maybe it's just like you haven't had any attention for a long time and you're just like, I need somebody to fucking touch me and I would prefer not to pay for it this time. That was, like a
yeah,
massage thing I'm talking about, a legit massage. And yeah, you will look at a thing like for me, I'm a sucker if and I'm not proud of this, but every guy has a different thing. There is a special combination between the hips to waist to bust ratio. It's like a combination that makes what any particular guy lose his shit and he just acts like basically a penis with feet. And the thing is, what's fucked about this is it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how caring you are, how much of a feminist you feel like you might be, or how woke you are, or how educated you are. If you see a girl with a certain shape of ass, waist to bust, it's like it just that's what happens to you. And
yeah,
you forget things like you're married happily, and she's standing right next to you. Things like that. It's like certain things that are just it's fucking debilitating. I'm not trying to make it sound like we're all fucking weak schmoes here, but you got to be aware of that. You have to be aware of that.
yeah,
It's like if you're aware of it, then you can counter for it. You can know like, oh, this girl is insanely hot. I need to not talk to her because I'm going
yeah.
to make an ass out of myself. You know what I mean? And hope to God she doesn't want to talk to me. So for
Well,
me, if a girl's basically if her chest was big enough, if she had huge enough boobs and stuff, she could be a nasty ass fucking piece of shit person, practically living on the street. I will still find a way. I'm like, I gotta get in there. You know what I mean? And she could say things like, I hate Mexicans. I hate all of them. I hate everybody like that. Maybe I need to get to know her better. Like I will do stupid shit like that. I wouldn't do it anymore, but definitely back in my 20s, man, you're just kind of like, yeah, red flag.
yeah,
What has that red flag ever done for me? All right. Do I have
yeah,
to ask that question? Does that red flag pay my bills? No. Why am I going to listen to that red flag?
yeah.
Fuck that.
That red, it's just, oh man, I've had, I the reason why I'm intrigued by this whole situation is because I think we're both into the fact that this is not a relationship. Like
Yeah,
I don't want one at this very moment. I don't think she does either.
but it is
Or
a
if she does,
relationship though.
yeah, it is,
It is a
Good point.
relationship. And if I can give advice from somebody who basically sledded his way around most of the East and West Valley of Phoenix,
Just as like a snail trail of Dave from east to west.
there's a couple of girls that still love me and still hate me. They're like that fucking guy. Um, this one gal who said she had a lot of strong feelings for me, and I had feelings for her too, but it just, it didn't work out the way that either anybody wanted it to. But it's weird. She was like, and she said, "Is like I'm never dating fucking Mexicans, and I hate the French." By the way, she's German and a sweet
Oh,
person
okay,
too, right? But she's just very blunt about this stuff, and I'm like, I feel like I had something to do with it. And I feel bad because I think like I messed up like a whole entire. Oh, well, we got an ad starting in about a minute, but if you're listening to this, the podcast and stuff, then don't worry about it. we're just gonna keep talking on through the whole thing. But the folks who are watching on Twitch right now, you guys get an ad here in about 47 seconds. So fucking go get yourself a drink, get yourself a Gatorade, get hydrated, come back in and watch. But yeah, it's what I at my slutty whorish miss where the part where I didn't respect myself the most. I think I was dating about 3 to 5 gals a week. Maybe every other day I would be and it was the same. It was the same gals and stuff, and I never lied to any of them. And I told them exactly what it was is what it was. And the reason why I did that, why I had to see so many different types of gals, is that if I kept seeing a girl more than once every other week, I would start catching feelings.
Yeah.
So that was me, by the way, because as much as I said I don't want a relationship, I was such an emotional guy. I am an emotional guy. But that was the thing where it's kind of like, if you're going to do that, if it's going to be casual, it has to be very, very casual, because it's impossible to keep like, if you're like, for me, this dumb thing, I'm hooking up with somebody like multiple times a week and everything, and they're like, how do you expect not to catch feelings for somebody, after a while? And I remember this one girl that I saw, I caught feelings for her. She, however, was able to have sex with me as many times as she wanted to and not catch feelings at all. So that was a mistake that I had made, and I'm like, oops, all right, well, that's my fault. She never fucking led me on or anything, but it was just,
True, but like it's a miscommunication type of thing. It's
yeah, I
saying
wasn't
like
listening to myself.
yeah, and also like I there's also like there's plenty of like responsibility to go around. Like
Yeah.
there's responsibility that we have, but also not to shit on women about this, but like there's also responsibility to maybe like be aware of the fact like, oh shit, this guy might be catching feelings. I should probably talk to him and be like, either like this stops or we gotta stop everything. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
because it's like, the whole
yeah,
point is you don't want anybody to get hurt. That's why you're not lying to each other and say that, yeah, I want a relationship, when you really don't.
yeah, yeah. I don't. It's not again. It's nothing to do with her. I mean, there's a few things with her that's a little bit, but I'm not going to talk about that. But like,
Right.
there's a few things, But like with me, at least, I know that what she's going to want, I'm not going to be able to give her as far as relationship stuff. There's no fucking way. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, I think she's like kind of wants like a stepdad thing, like a stepdad situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. Dude, I barely can take care of myself. I don't. There's no way in hell I can be like stepdad guy. You know what I mean? Let me not at this moment. Like if you ask me this shit like a few years from now, maybe, but like at this moment, I'm just starting to kind of like my trajectory is starting to kind of go up a little bit. I don't want to like take on more responsibility that I can't handle just because. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
At this moment.
So, I want to say thanks for actually talking about that, because I think if any guy that listens and stuff, I'm going to put that in a blank where I'm like talking about the friends with benefits thing, because like, yeah, there's a lot of responsibility that goes on that too. I mean, when you really look down at how many girls have you ever look on an online ad that say, listen, I just want something casual, a guy that I can have some fun with, who's a nice guy that we can go out to dinner with, maybe talk occasionally. I'm like, bitch, that's a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Fuck. The fuck are you talking about? You're lucky I tell you my real name if we're doing a friends with benefits. Jesus Christ. I'm kidding. All right, so something we were talking about before. Okay, so every year, this is very inside baseball for the Denver comedy scene. There's a festival that gets put on once a year. It's from the Grolix guys, right? Or people,
Pretty much, yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
Actually,
but it's
I think it's actually I think it's Adam Caton Holland's baby, like it's his
yeah.
thing, and I think he oversees it, and then he has other people book it. I guess I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's something like that, yeah. And
Right.
it's like some other.
And it's a pretty
He
big
might book.
festival. I've never been to it, by the way.
I've been to it the first year because the first year was fun
Yeah.
because it was new, and they had an open mic there,
Yeah.
and every Denver comic was fucking every comic in the conceivable universe of Colorado was at that open mic,
Yeah.
and it was really fun because I
Yeah.
got to see all these comics in the same fucking place that I barely ever see. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing like Mitch Jones and Bobby Gaudette and fucking Mike Hammock's there, like all these people that you never see at the
That
same
was the
time
Denver
or
comedy
all
scene before the Me Too thing,
yeah,
right?
it was fucking rad, dude.
Yeah.
I was having the best time. I saw Kevin Bennett and I saw like fucking Creasy. I saw. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like
Oh yeah,
the
when he was still
fucking
doing comedy, right?
yeah. Like
Yeah,
that was like the span of the kind of people I was seeing. It was
right.
fucking cool. I thought it was awesome, man.
Hmm.
I the first one in this they had a party, but it was like only volunteers and people who paid. I hung out. Sam Talon was trying to get me into the fucking party, but I didn't have any wristbands.
Yeah,
And then the bouncer was like, "We can't let you in here." And Sam's
yeah,
like trying to get me in. And I told Sam, like, "Listen, dude, I don't have any wristbands. It'd be kind of shitty if I just walked in
yeah.
here with nothing. I don't want to do that."
Fair enough.
I appreciate him trying. It's not like I don't, I'm poo pooing him trying to get me in there. It's just, it's one of those things. It's like I didn't fucking pick up comics from the airport.
Hmm.
I didn't spend X amount of time trying to help promote this thing. I
Right.
don't want to walk in and enjoy a party that I didn't have anything to do with.
Yeah.
Not like it's not like they're keeping me out. It's like I didn't do enough to get in. That's
Yeah. Fair
basically
enough.
what it was.
Just because I
Yeah,
showed up at the mic doesn't mean that I'm going to take part in this party, eat your food, drink your booze, and get all like.
yeah,
Which,
yeah,
granted,
yeah. I
that
didn't.
is a move that a lot of fucking open micers would have done anyways.
Oh,
Like, oh, let me
yeah,
sneak into a party, just pretend like
yeah.
cheap
So,
fucks.
but
Oh,
and then it became a status symbol in the scene, and then it just became obnoxious. Honestly,
there
like
was
it's a
certain
fun
people
show,
that
but
did it right. Like, it's
yeah,
not like everybody who freaking put the high planes thing on their Facebook profile was being a jerk about it, but there was other folks where you just kind of like, you kind of start turning like the little side eye about it. Like, there's a lot. I would say that everybody that's been on that show, I would say the first couple of years that I noticed, and this is, by the way, I'm not bitter because nobody ever, I don't get on shows very often. That's something that I've changed. I've been trying, I'm on 2 shows in September. 2 paid shows in September, which I'm glad that I'm working for something more than just a drink ticket. So it's actually stuff that pays, right?
that's not.
So, but I'm not out there hustling the way that a lot of everybody else that's on that show, or I would say 98% of the people that's on that show, the way that they hustle. So they deserve to be on there, right? So no sour grapes here, right? Not from me, and I feel you feel the same way, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. I want to say that because I know what the response are going to be once I make a clip of this and I put it on Facebook. And that is
yeah.
like, oh, you're just pissed because you didn't get booked. I'm like, I didn't want to get booked on there. So now, years ago, somebody freaking made fun of the font for the thing, and they, not Adam Kate and Holland, but somebody else who was involved with it. I don't want to mention their name, but just because they're not here to defend themselves, they fucking lost their shit and said that, that they were going to sue and all this other stuff, and you're fucking
What the
infringing.
fuck? Are you serious? I
Not wait,
forgot
wait.
about this.
Maybe maybe I heard that second or third hand, so maybe I think they just throw
Okay,
it.
if
Scratch
that
what I
is
said about the
true, that's
lawsuit.
fucking that is if that is true, that is wow,
What?
that is the height of taking yourself way too fucking
But
seriously.
this person, however, wasn't a comic though. This was
Oh,
the person who was
okay.
organizing the one of the organizers, but they weren't necessarily a comic, right?
Yeah,
So we're talking about this. There is a comic by the name of Matt Gabriel. Shout out to
yeah.
Matt Gabriel from Colorado Springs, which is a different comedy scene than the Denver comedy scene. Even though we're all Colorado comedians, we all go on each other's shows. It's not like there's a line when you get up to Fort Collins where they're like, "We want to see your papers on what your material is before we allow you into Fort Collins and then try to entertain us." They don't do shit like that. Everybody's welcome for the most part, but thing is Colorado Springs has a way more of a blue collar Christian conservative crowd in their city than Denver's liberal audience for the most part. College liberal art, I would say, um, in Denver. So there's
yeah,
definitely different styles of comedy that goes. You know what I mean? So Matt Gabriel, he took the poster for this year's High Plains, and then he put up there. He changed the font. It said "Same Old Lineup Comedy Festival," which I thought was fucking hilarious.
yeah. That's kind of it's kind of funny. I'm not gonna,
It's
I'd be lying to say when I saw that for the first time that I didn't laugh real fucking hard for some reason. I just it's just I like when things get the piss taken out of them. You know what I mean? That's what I like. I kind of find that hilarious.
mm,
You know, to quote the British, I like when I take the piss out of it. You know what I mean?
oh
Like that
yeah,
whole, you know.
and I see people that are coming after him. By the way, a lot of the people that are coming after him are like within 1 to 5 year comics. And they're trying to basically get clout. I feel like you're just trying to raise your place in the scene and stuff. I mean, honestly, he didn't say anything offensive about it because there's a lot of people on that show that have been on every festival, which is because they're local Denver comics and they are funny. They are funny, right? Like if somebody says like if anybody said like why is Janae Burris on there because Janae Burris has a solid set, and we've seen her crush. You and I, even we were on the same show. We've seen her crush audiences before. She deserves to be on that show. Or
This is also like her home base. Too.
yeah, exactly. Even though she's been living in California and stuff, and she just had a kid, she's a great comic. She's a great actress. All that other great stuff. Nothing, no shade there. There's also people like Jordan Dahl. What are you gonna say? Jordan Dahl's not funny? He shouldn't be on there? Are you fucking kidding me? Of course he would. But at the same time, these guys have also. There's been a lot of these guys have been on the same. They've been doing this for a couple years and they deserve to. That's fine. There's nothing mean about what he said, but it's just kind of funny. So I put down. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna put down hashtag True American Hero on there, and then I saw some of the things that went on there. By the way, Shanae Ross, shout out to Shanae Ross for even liking the hashtag. I appreciate that, Shanae. Even though we've never actually had a conversation and stuff, I think that you're I think you're an awesome person.
My favorite comment in that whole thread was my favorite comment in the whole thread was when Matt Gabriel said in a comment, he goes, "I'm sorry I made a joke about a comedy festival."
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking was that got me. I fucking laughed real hard at that comment because it's so dumb.
Right.
It's so preposterous.
Right.
It's like you guys are taking this shit so fucking seriously.
Yeah, what are you guys, theater actors? What are you, community theater actors, or are you fucking stand-up comics? Which ones are you? Yeah. Which ones are you? Because stand-up comics can take a joke. A community theater actor is going to fucking get all butthurt and everything and say that how you're disrespecting their art and all the other shit. So shut the fuck up. Then somebody started making other posts and stuff. I think this one was Sam Sisson, who I've never had a conversation with. I don't know her. I haven't seen her act. She seems cool.
She's pretty nice.
But
I did not agree with this, by the way. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, but they made a thing. She made one post that said, "Me mad festival, no choose me." So Matt Gabriel puts, he's like, already booked Friday through Sunday that weekend. Try again, and she's like, puts up a gif like, "Sure, Jan," like the Marsha Brady thing. He's like, "Okay, you're not believing me," makes those shows non-existent, I guess. And then he puts in there like, "Hey, how much does High Plains pay?" And then, which was
nobody pays the festival. You pay,
right? But yeah, it's just funny. Yeah, like it's craziness. So either way, but yeah, the last one they put in there. Sorry, I made a joke to anyone about a comedy festival. And I'm gonna give another little fucking like on there just because it should be funny, man. Anybody who really got upset by that, who really did, and I'm like, come on, man. And you know what? The people who've been booked, by the way, I didn't read all the comments, but a lot of the people that've been on there every year, I didn't see them say anything. They're like, they probably thought it was funny. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Or they just went, or they saw that, went, okay, whatever, and then went about their fucking day like a person.
I'm like still booked. I don't give a shit. You know what? Who cares?
Like, why do you give this much of a shit? That's what bothers me. Why do you care? Because granted, he did it again a few years earlier, where he took the banner that goes underneath the Facebook.
Was that the same dude or was it a different guy?
Same guy. Matt Gabriel's just a shit stirrer. I kind of like him for that reason in a weird way. I've had very limited interactions with him, but I kind of like guys that kind of just go, fuck this. Yeah. I kind of like that attitude. I dig that shit.
Right.
Even if he does kind of come off whichever way he does and whatever, but I do like somebody who does, again, like to take the piss out of stuff.
You kind of need that guy in the scene.
Yeah. He took the banner that goes underneath the fucking profile photo for High Plains, and then he took a photo of an old Russian woman and then put the banner underneath it, and it was fucking hilarious. And people lost their shit. They lost their shit because they were like, "How dare you?" It was like that. That's what it is. It's a bunch of comics that take this shit too seriously, and they're like, "Oh, how dare you? You'll never work in Denver again."
You'll have to pay for your fucking kombucha. You're not gonna get a ticket for a free one. So fuck you.
We won't tell you. We'll give you bad directions to every dispensary you want to go to. How dare you? But it's just like, come on, man. Like, this is fucking stupid. Like, you're giving this guy way too much power in your life.
Right.
That bad about it. And you're busy. You got a fucking festival to run. What the fuck are you giving a shit with some guy in the Springs is saying?
Yeah, exactly.
You know like,
or even, I don't even think it's necessarily because, hold on, let me go back.
It doesn't matter. Like, it's so fucking stupid.
Let's see. Touring country band booked to play there. Oh, okay, that was him just talking about his mic that he has going on there. It's a fucking. It is such a weird. Oh, now I can't find the thing.
But there's some funny ass people on that fucking festival.
Oh yeah,
It doesn't. It's not like people are gonna go. Oh, I was gonna go, and then Matt Gabriel made fun of it. Like no one's saying
yeah,
that. Nobody's doing that. Like it's come on, man. It's just not. It's just fucking take a joke for fuck's sake. God damn. Quit being so goddamn serious about everything all the fucking time, dude. It's comedy, for fuck's sake.
right,
Your
exactly.
job is to make people laugh. Why the fuck is this? You're making it seem like you're out there trying to fucking fight the world. Relax.
Maybe that's
Let's
because
get
the way
the
they are,
fucking
and if somebody's not doing it,
yeah.
if somebody is not freaking going with a log or doesn't, it's a scary thing if you're gonna go out there and try to change the world with your mouth, right? With the words that come out of it, if I can put it bluntly, right? So it's a
Yeah.
scary thing, and so you want people that are gonna be kind of supportive of the same thing. And when somebody says, "Yeah, I don't think that's a fucking good idea," it's really unnerving because now you have to do shit on your own,
Yeah.
and which is kind of what you have to do anyways. By the way, if you consider yourself strong because you're with a group of people, you're not strong.
Yeah. You're
You
yeah.
got to work. You got to work on that. That's just something. That's just another guy lesson. I mean, and that doesn't mean you have to shut off your fucking heart and be a robot and stuff. But it just means that, hey, man, if you're feeling vulnerable and stuff, I'm like, good. Like, learn about that. Why do you feel vulnerable and everything, and then do something about it. Maybe it's a good thing you are. Maybe it's a good thing that you're not. You got to look at it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And when somebody freaking that does something that just puts up a picture that kind of takes a little jab at something that you might possibly be associated with, assuming somebody scrolls down out of the 50 comedians that are booked on this festival and finds your name on it and somehow think they're going to think less of you. Like, okay, you've got a vulnerability there, man. There's a hole in that armor that you need to friggin' look at that you think you've got because you're going to try to go in a battle with like armor that doesn't work. And the moment
Yeah.
somebody freaking taps you, they're gonna be like, "Wait a second, hold on, what's going on?" This, So I don't know. I can't find the thing. I think he took it down.
Oh, you did.
I think he did.
What? Which one?
The post.
Oh, really?
I
You took
think.
it down?
I think so.
Oh no! What are you doing?
Wait a second. Let me just look.
Seriously?
I'll look. I'll go under photos. Oh wait. Okay. If you go under photos, you could still. It's still there.
Okay, I was gonna say. But like, man, it's god damn it, dude. It's one of those things that just it bugs me. I mean, why you gotta sit there and then I don't know. It's just like, dude, it's a comedy festival, and this whole like you're just jealous that you weren't booked. Like, dude? What are we in fifth grade?
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
it's like, yeah, come on,
Well, you
dude.
know what? How,
Like that's
let's
fuck.
take a wait. Wait a second. Let's that might that's something. Let me think about this for a second. Let me try to be pragmatic about it, assuming I know what that word means.
Right?
So let's say if I'm a young comedian that's only been doing this between 1 to 3 years, or 1 to 3 years, and I got put. I don't think there's anybody that's been that new that's on the festival. But let's say if I had, let's say 1 to 5 years or something, which and entirely you could probably get on a festival if you've been doing comedy that long. And I'm really, really insecure about whether or not I belong on there or not. And then somebody takes a swipe at the festival, maybe I can kind of understand them getting upset by that, but still, I don't. Whatever the reaction is, like some of the stuff that I read in the comments and stuff by people who've also been stirring shit. And one of them, I think I remember from accusing somebody on the Denver comedy scene, which by the way got fucking plagued with a bunch of bots this week. Did you see that?
No.
There was
What
like a
happened?
bunch of bots that just started spamming all this porn on the and it was all like it came from like 5 or 7 like 10 different accounts, and it was just the same porn and all this other weird stuff, and it was just kind of like what the fuck is going on there. So I'm like, maybe they need to ask permission. Like, I don't know what the settings were for the group. I'm like, you got to change it so that way not anybody can join. You have to ask, at least an admin, and then the admin takes a look at it and say, okay, this is a real person, because I think that's what
Yeah,
happened. And
Mike,
so
or maybe somebody's account got hacked who was already a member of that group,
oh yeah,
and then they probably got in their account, changed all their info so that it wasn't them anymore,
yeah,
and then went in and they started doing that shit. I mean, but that's a lot of work to get to for that. I mean, that
yeah,
just seems I don't know. That just seems stupid.
right,
But like the fact that happened is kind of funny.
yeah.
I guarantee people were fucking butthurt about that. Like, why is there so much butthurt? I don't understand it.
You know
It's
what I
that
ended up doing just because I kept seeing it on there for a little bit. I just started reporting every single one of those accounts. I'm like, it's bots. It's the same
yeah
fucking video on there. Please, that one of the other admins is like, Facebook is going to take this site down. Look at all the porn that's on there. I'm like, first of all, I don't know if Facebook has a no porn policy or not.
Well,
Actually, you know what? The Zoom thing is about to go off. Let me reset it real quick.
okay.
Give me 1 second, guys. Let's.
See you in about 5.
It'll be just probably about 2 moments and everything. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to play a little music while I'm doing this. So, all right, there you go. There we go. Hey, we're back here. Fair enough. All right, I had to turn off that music. It's kind of funny. I'm like, oh, and I'm glad I have music on here. Like, on the soundboard, I'm like, quick, something. Oh my gosh, Okay. So either way, I thought that was pretty funny. I thought that was like, oh shit, look at. I mean, granted, as far as the dust ups that happen, as far as like the comedy scene page, like the comedy page is supposed to be about sharing shows and also open mics for the most part, and it's supposed to be supportive. And then occasionally it turns in where somebody accuses somebody of sexual assault. When I'm like, that's not really what this page is supposed to be for. You should probably go to the police or something. But and that post got taken down, by the way, which is that only. I think that was one of the same people that I saw pissed off at Matt Gabriel, possibly, where it's just kind of like somebody where he even responded. He was like, "That's funny. You said that you liked my set and everything. So I don't know why are you being a fake person when you were talking to me? Or are you being a fake person now, or that type of shit?" Or he said something where he called her a fake ass person. I'm like, "Ah, good. Fucking call these fucking drama students out on it." But
That's why I kind of got out. I'm glad I got out of there for that. That's one of those reasons.
well,
Because it got bad. Like I remember, like 2 or 3 years in, it got fucking real bad, and then it got really bad, and then and then it just too many people wanted to fucking too many people who weren't good wanted power, and they were using anything they could do to get it. You know what I'm saying? They were doing that shit.
yeah, and that happens in any scene. That happens in every theater. That happens in every band scene. That happens in all
Yeah.
that other stuff. It's just one of the things that I wrote. I think spoke. We might have spoken about it on the last the last episode we did. But I wrote this blog post about because I was talking about these two comics from the UK that were on Joe Rogan's show a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, wait a second. They're like, it's a very small community with the UK comedy scene. And all it takes is a couple of gatekeepers and then keep you out of all this stuff. And then one of the comics was talking more about it than the other ones. So I'm like, the guy that's being eerily quiet, I'm sure gets booked way more than the other dude does. But they're focused more on their podcast called like Trigonometry or something, which it's like a right of center or of a podcast. It's not, but these days and age, if you don't necessarily agree 100%, then that must mean you're a right wing extremist. Which isn't true. Not everybody believes that. I don't believe that, but there's some folks that are out there, and just unfortunately they're louder than the other folks. Either way, I'm like, wait a second. I know people in the fucking UK comedy scene. So because I've had people, years ago, I just put an ad on the London Craigslist arts page, and I said, I'm a podcaster from the United States. I would like to do some interviews with comics from across the pond. Anybody interested? A couple people got back to me. So Ray Davis, Ant McEwen, and Bex Turner. Bex Turner, who just got back, or she's still at the Scotland Fringe Festival right now, fucking doing her thing, doing her comedy and stuff like that. So people who freaking know shit. So either way, I talked to Ant, and I'm like, hey, does any of these guys seem familiar? He's like, oh, this one dude's a dick. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, he's always talking about he's getting censored and stuff, but really, like, I tried talking to him. He just talked down to me the entire time. He didn't want to look me, like, he was being really, really snotty. So I'm like, all right, if you're going to be a prick, then fuck you, And he was like, yeah, that guy doesn't get booked because he's an asshole to people, not because necessarily of his political views. So I was thinking more about that. I'm like, am I using first of all, no, as far as I could tell, nobody in the Denver comedy scene has ever said shit about me. And if they did, it was never to anybody who even was mildly close to me, because otherwise I would have heard about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to keep me from doing anything out here. And so I was thinking about like the term of like cancel culture and politically correct and all this other stuff and gatekeepers and all this other shit. And I'm like, well, you know what? I was as I was taking myself out of the situation, I'm like, there's always been gatekeepers. It's called the owners of the theaters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the owner of the theater is always going to want something that's going to be safe, that's not going to cause a bunch of shit, and it's going to make him the most money, right?
Yeah.
So, like, when people, like I always say, there should be safe spaces in this world, but the stage isn't one of them. The stage has never been a safe space. Like,
Yeah.
you think about Angels in America, which is about like AIDS and gay couples and stuff like that came out. This was in the late '80s, I think, early
Okay.
'90s when this came out, and there's a uh, don't think that every theater was rushing to put that out on Broadway.
No.
They would. It was way
No.
easier to do Les Mis, and Cats and shit that's gonna run for a long time, but that story needed to be told. There was people that were fucking angry that they were even talking about gay relationships on Broadway, which is really weird when you think about it.
Yeah, that's
I
kind of funny
remember
actually.
watching it, like you know what I mean? But it was just kind of like, hey, so like it's always about taking chances. But the thing is that even though the gatekeepers or theater owners, as I would call it, or showrunners want something that's safe, if something is so good, it will always break through, right? So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, if they had a choice, they would like, listen, I would rather have Jerry Seinfeld or Richard Jenny, because those guys sell out all the time. They do great comedy and stuff, and you know what? It's everybody just about it's pretty good, or Sinbad or something like that. Who's funnier than Sinbad, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But the thing is that that might be the norm, but it's the Bill Hicks, Richard Pryor, the George Carlins who are not safe, who break through, and they're the ones that raise the bar for everybody, and that's how things move forward, right? So if I'm thinking, I'm like, if I work on being authentic enough and trying to do as much work as these on my bits and stuff as I possibly can, then I know that I'm going to get through, because you can't fucking keep. There is no reason as a showrunner or producer that you would ever not want to have the funniest people on your show. The funniest people that are on your show generally means that you could, if you know how to work it and market it right, you can make a lot more money with those guys than necessarily the folks who aren't going to cause any waves. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So that's what I'm like. Be undeniable. Be an outlier. Um, don't let everything that you see keep you down.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like, I look at all the people that are getting booked, and my comedy's nothing like them. So what does that mean, that somebody's out to get is against you? No, it doesn't. It just means that your comedy hasn't broken through their shit yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This thing is, as much as it's weird, it's kind of an oxymoron when it comes to the Denver comedy scene. And I'm sorry, Jake, I know I'm fucking yabbling on here, but um, we were so supportive of each other, which is something that made us so different from a lot of the scenes in the country a couple of years ago. But I think there's a lot of folks that forget that, like, no, this is a competition. My goal is to make sure that everybody laughs so much that nobody wants to give a fuck about anything that you have to say. That's how
Yeah.
fucking good that I want to be. I want to be like I've mentioned the story before. The first time I went to go see a stand up show, maybe not want to do comedy for like close to 15 years, because the bar was set so fucking high that I never thought that I can do it, and it took me a long time to give it a shot. And I'm getting there, but yeah, I would say these guys can gatekeep and shit all they want or whatever. It doesn't matter. I think if you're funny enough, like I think if I was doing enough shows, and first of all, I've been here for what? How many years? 10 years? Since
Oh, easily.
2013, 14, something like that. I'm bad at math. I've seen Adam Kane Holland once. I've never spoken to either three of those guys. So there's no way that they know who the hell I am, right?
Yeah.
But I think that if they would have seen a lot of the sets, if I was doing a lot of shows, as working as hard as anybody that made that festival, I think I would have gotten on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Probably. And yeah. It's. I mean, it is. It's. It is what it is. I mean, that's the way I've always kind of looked at it. I mean, but I have seen them. I have seen people in that scene act ugly when they don't get their way.
Oh yeah.
When the wrong guy gets it. Trust me, I've been like the fucking. That's like. That's like that whole story with me getting on the contest years ago
Oh yeah.
when they started the rumor about me all because I got the spot instead of Lila Bear
Yeah.
and all that
Well,
shit. And
that's
it
all
was
they
just a
can
fucking
do.
miss.
That's really all
What's
that.
that?
What it was is Lila Bear going to come and fucking punch you in the face and fucking take your lunch money?
Oh, they're
No,
trying
she's
to
not going to do
they're
that.
trying to
This is the
convince
only
me
thing
to
she
like
could
yeah.
do.
No, but they're like I didn't. It wasn't like I was like, oh, she's gonna be there. I'm gonna steal her spot. It was like,
Yeah,
oh, there's an open spot. I'm gonna go see if I can get it.
yeah,
That's all my that was my thinking. And then when I got it, they got fucking mad.
yeah.
And they got mad, starting rumors about me, and I, like an idiot, took it at face value. And I at first I was mad.
Yeah,
Made a post, took it down eventually because I realized I'm doing this the wrong way.
yeah,
And I DM'd her.
yep.
And I thought we hashed it out.
Mm.
And then I kind of got the feeling that they're lying. I don't have any proof, but
Hey,
I get this sinking. I'm pretty good with that shit. I'm pretty good with it. It's actually kind of my downfall in a weird way that I just can't let something go when I think it's a lie.
yeah,
And I think a lot of that was a lie. I think they did that shit on purpose. And I think they did it because I don't know why. I just don't think they liked me.
because
That's probably what it is.
probably
That's
because they
fine
thought
if
they
they
could
don't
get
like
away
me.
with
I'm
it.
not. Yeah, but like they wanted to kind of like throw shade on me, but they couldn't figure out how because I'm not a creep. There's nobody that has my dick pic in that whole fucking scene.
All right.
I don't really make that much of an ass of myself. I've never, you know what I'm saying? I never really did
Well, it's
anything that would me to myself.
you
So
were
they're like, what do we
naturally
do?
funnier than most of the people that were the ones that you're talking about, or at least the
But
one
yeah,
in
but I'll,
particular. Like I don't see your
yeah,
name. Like listen, I'm not on. I'm gonna brag that I'm on 2 shows in September. I'm happy and I'm proud that I am. But listen,
yeah,
most folks when they see me, they go like, "Holy shit, you're still doing comedy!" I'm like, that's totally fair. They only if they haven't seen me for 2 or 3 years, you
yeah,
know, which because I only kept hitting like 1 to 2 different mics a week or every other week at that pre
yeah,
before lockdown, and so like I never even went anywhere to the mics that they would go to, so of course they wouldn't know me. But the whole thing is that I haven't seen that person on a lot of fucking shows either, unless they're
yeah.
touring nationally or something that I don't know about, which is entirely possible. But as far as I could tell, they're not. So I think shit, who was I talking to? I think it was Bear. By the way, I am on GTA. I got the game again.
Yeah.
So all three of us got to fucking play some fucking run some. We got to
Okay.
steal some shit. So
We'll set up a time.
yeah, totally. But I think it was Bear that was talking about. I'm like, oh no, I think it was maybe it was Harrison Garcia after the mics went off. But I was like, all the people that were starting up shit ever since then, where are they now? They're not
Yeah.
doing comedy. Maybe they're happy. I hope they are. I hope they found some peace and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But all those folks that start up all that shit and everything, or anybody that comes to the scene and suddenly start, like kicking over cans and all this other stuff. As a matter of fact, Ty Rivera had a really good video about it. About like, if you're a young comedian, you kind of need to fucking keep your mouth shut and just fucking listen to what the comics who've been, especially like if you have a headliner that's hanging out with or in a club and everything. I'm like, they don't necessarily need to hear your opinion. You know what I mean? Just fucking watch and learn and see what they're doing and do that instead of trying to go in and be like, hey, this needs to be this and I need to fucking put my influence on that. You know what I mean? Because the folks who've done that, I won't say they quit or everything, but they're not involved in the scene the way they used to be. And maybe it's because when you stir up a lot of negative energy sometimes, regardless of how much you believe in it, there's some folks who are just not going to want to talk to you. Because that's
Yeah.
also how actors and entertainment industry works and stuff. If somebody who's causing a bunch of shit, you got to take a gamble on that person. Are they going to be sitting around? I mean, are they going to be like the outlier that fucking breaks through all the bullshit and resets the bar of where shit's supposed to be, or is hanging out with them gonna make it so a lot of people don't want to fucking talk to me? Because that's kind of what actors do. That's the reason why actors are so fucking fluid about what their opinions are, is
Yeah.
because they're getting work revolves greatly on a smaller group of people than comics do. That's why comics, they say it's not like the comics are necessarily braver. It's just they're in a situation where they don't have to be as scared.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like, oh, fucking Warner Brothers doesn't want to hire me. Well, I could still make $5,000 doing a 300 seat or theater just on Friday or something, or you know what I mean, like that. And I'm like, it's not like I'm going to be destitute, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say I was using all of that shit as an excuse not to write more and not to go out and fucking work as hard as I possibly could.
Yeah.
For me, anyways, that's what I was doing. I kind of figured that out, and I'm like, that's bullshit. Okay, I need to. Ah,
I don't know. I just kind of like I saw behind the curtain a little too much, and it kind of ruined me. I didn't
yeah,
like doing it there anymore. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I'm just the part of it too is like I don't like being in a cutthroat culture, and that's what it felt like.
That's where the
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
where the biz is going to be. The thing is that these guys, I know, there's okay. If you're going to say, no, I don't want to use that as an example. Okay, there are people who are fucking when it comes to being like climbing the ladder and networking and stuff and trying to be how to angle who to talk to who at this party so I can get closer to this person, hopefully draw them into this conversation, do all that other weird sneaky shit. Okay,
Yeah.
there's people those are sharks like that, and those are the ones that I went to school with. Not that they're malevolent people and everything like that, but the aggressiveness that how badly they want something is really fucking intense, and they will do whatever it can, in order to get what they need. And then there's the people, let's say, like in this local scene, who think they're like that, but they're not because they haven't seen what a fucking true sociopath can do when they're really, really pissed off, and they're going to start going like, "Oh no, I'm not gonna do anything mean. I'm not gonna threaten you. I'm just gonna make sure that I go up between before you at every fucking mic,
Yeah.
just to see if I can crush the room, so that way you have to walk up to in fucking, you know what I mean? It's like they'll do shit like that in order to get somebody to quit their fucking profession, as opposed to, you know what I mean, just saying something nasty. It's like, oh no, I'm gonna get you. Like I'm gonna get you. This other thing is like there's like when I was at the Comedy Store 2 years ago to see Kill Tony,
Yeah.
because it was during the lockdown. We still managed to, it wasn't they were still allowing outside shows, which I think like 2 weeks later, then LA said that the Comedy Store couldn't even do that. So the show was going on inside, and they were projecting it on a screen outside, and that's
Yeah.
where all they put tables socially distanced and stuff like that. Either way, one of the local guys who was here in Denver, guys, his name is William Montgomery. If you watch JRE, Joe Rogan's podcast, he's mentioned him many times. If you watch Kill Tony's on YouTube, you will see him. He's got a recurring. He was the first one to get a recurring set, I believe, on Kill Tony. Right, a new minute every week.
Dude, I met a guy in Denver. I think it was I was in Denver, and because they heard that I did stand up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Oh, do you know William Montgomery?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "Yeah, oh yeah, no, I did some shows with him when he first moved here. He's a really cool guy. Like he's fucking out of his mind,
yeah.
but he's fucking hilarious. Like
Nothing but
he's
good
just
things to say about that dude.
yeah, he's intensely insane but hilarious. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's all over. It's just it's he's one of one. He's just
Yeah,
a fucking he's a
there's
maniac.
no
He's
other
a
Billy
fucking
Montgomerys.
yeah.
There's no other.
Oh yeah, there's no yeah they didn't yeah.
But
But this kid was like really holy shit, huge fan of the dude.
yeah,
I was like, well, yeah, and so he's always making an impact
yeah,
because
no.
like
But I
yeah
remember sitting out. Jenny and I were sitting there at a table. We're enjoying the show, and he comes out after the show's over when he was like, "Hey man, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Hey." He sits down, has a drink or two, has like a beer or two with us, and I'm like, and I knew because it's like as soon as he sat down there, I could feel all the eyes. Like I'm like it hit me. I'm like I was back in New York. I'm like, oh, I'm in a fucking Shark Tank right now.
yeah
Like it just hit me because all the people in that audience were other comics and stuff like that, and suddenly it's just kind of like ting 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 ting, ting, and they're like, "Who the fuck is that guy? Why is that? Who's she? Okay, okay? That's William. Who's he talking to? Why they? Okay, man. All right, they seem to be good friends and stuff. I wonder how the fuck do I get over? All right. And it's like, oh, that's the aggressiveness. That's the fucking showbiz. I enjoy that part of it, just
wow
because there's something about the pressure and everything where it's kind of like, all right, let me see how I can fucking get this done. Um, but yeah, but as far as like the folks who like start who stir shit locally, they don't.
yeah
It's like there's a dust up on the internet for a little bit, and then it's like once you realize that like the people who do a lot of the complaining, the only thing they really have is the internet. You know what I mean? That's where
yeah
they're trying to make more of a difference in the world, and yeah, sometimes like things can happen where you're like, hey, look, I got this person fired, or I got this. Well, let's say, we got this company to change their stance on something for the better from their point of view, right? So there was those things like that, but really, when it comes to real life, that company could be like, we're just going to say that, but we're not actually going to do it. I'm like, why? What the fuck are they going to do? You know what I mean? It's like they've got more money in their advertisement than they can. They just don't want to spend it having to combat bullshit or whatever online. But
yeah
for the most part, it's like when you realize the only thing you have is the realm of ones and zeros, but physical reality, you don't have nearly as much control or influence over. I'm like, well, then why are you going to be afraid of them? You know what I mean?
yeah
Not to say
yeah
that they can't do shit to fuck you up. Apparently, swatting is okay now, which
that's fuck Yeah, it's fucking
That was
crazy.
super fucked. I'm not a fan of that freaking congresswoman either, but the moment, like freaking my friend Vince, Deathmatch Radio 1 on Twitch or DM Radio, he got fucking swatted twice years ago because somebody found out where they live and they just thought, oh, it's cool to get the cops or a fucking SWAT team and get some creative, like, because they're telling like if it's a life or death situation, you need to go in there with fucking assault rifles now, break through the doors and stuff like that because this girl's got to die. And then the cops go there, they're all jacked up and everything, and then people have gotten killed because of this.
Yeah.
And it's like to me, I don't know what the definition is, but to me, when you SWAT somebody, dude, that is fucking attempted murder. Because cops don't fucking come in with fucking yo-yos and tickle and and fucking balloon animals and shit. They come in with guns. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe they should maybe not do that. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the cops, to be honest with you. Like, I know that they serve a purpose. I'm not one of these like defund the police people, but like the powers they have and the shit they get away with is fucking incredibly insane.
Right. And
And then
then
it needs to be curbed big time.
agreed,
And
but somebody
that goes
fucking
for
pointing that at somebody, that's like,
yeah.
you know.
It's just it's because it's like they act like people who don't want to get sued. So like, well, we have to go. Their guns are blazing in case there really is something going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice, and just think about it for like more than a step back and think about it for 5 seconds. This is the address. Who lives there? Oh, this person. Okay, let's fucking call them or do stuff. Let's not go in there completely. Like
Well, that's
super
the thing
aggressive.
that's
Yeah,
the thing. It's not like somebody saying, "Hey, I'm hearing noises next door. Can you send a couple of cops by to talk to, my
yeah,
neighbors are being too loud or they're fighting." It's not that. It's this guy has got somebody tied up. He is torturing her. I have proof. You need to go over there and fucking take care of it. He's armed to the teeth. He's got explosives and all this other shit. And they're telling the cops are hearing all this stuff, and they're like, all right. And if you're convincing enough, apparently, then they're like, all right, so they're not going to send 2 cops with fucking 9mm. They're going to send the SWAT team. And
yeah,
so that's what I mean. It's like there was that dude who was, I think they were ironically playing Call of Duty, I think. But either way, this guy that was pissed off at him online found out where he was and then swatted him. And then the guy lives in California. The dude who got killed was in Kansas or something like that. And I haven't. This was years ago. I haven't actually. I didn't know how the case went out. But the guy who swatted the dude was initially like, "Listen, I'm not the one who freaking shot him. Talk to the cops about that." You know what I mean? Or I'm like, "Oh, you fucking psycho." Like, you don't realize that you're the one who fucking killed this dude. You just used somebody else to pull the trigger. That was
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
so. Either way,
that's what that is.
yeah,
But
exactly. So them swatting a member of Congress. I don't know. I'm sure the person who did it felt they were doing the right thing, but I'm like, you just tried to kill a member of the U.S. federal government. You're not. You're going away.
yeah,
Like you're going away.
once they figure out who the fuck did that, they're done.
When they and they're
They
gonna
should
find.
they should be.
Yeah, they're gonna find him, and I'm like, enjoy sleeping in your bed because it's probably the last time it's gonna happen. You're gonna be someplace else for for quite some time. Hope but um, it's weird. I mean, I had a friend of mine who was like, hey, the person who swatted this person, fucking thumbs up or something like that. I'm like, maybe I don't know. It's a creative person, so maybe they're just trying to be funny or cute and everything. But I was like, yeah, I don't know if that's a thing necessarily to cheer for, but.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No.
All right, last thing I think we should talk about because we already talked about um, we talked about personal stuff. We talked about the Denver scene. The other thing I was going to talk about. Have you noticed over? Um, it was over at one point. Joe Rogan was getting a lot of shit from like CNN specifically, and it was basically like Joe Rogan now turns into like if when you see him in the news, more than likely it's because it's a slow news day, and they can
Yeah.
always find something that he said. There's like zillions of hours of his conversations and stuff, so they could always put up. I'm like, oh, do you know what he's whatever. But thing is that after all that died down, I noticed that the types of guests that he had on were mostly just comics. And he was like, I just want to have fucking fun conversations and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to have politicians on here anymore. I don't want to, I'm trying to stay away from controversial stuff. Like even the episode of when he was Dave Mustaine, who was the lead singer of Megadeth. who was a
Yeah.
local hero for Phoenix for quite some time.
Really?
Oh yeah, because Megadeth, they were from out there too. Alice Cooper, he's also like he's a local out
Oh no,
there. Yeah.
I've heard Alice Cooper does a radio show here too,
Oh yeah.
and everyone who I've ever met, he's the bizarro John Elway, and by that I mean
Yeah.
everyone who I've talked to who's met him
Hmm.
says he's says nothing but nice things about this dude, like how he's just a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
John Elway, everyone I've ever talked to said he's a fucking prick.
Yeah.
But everyone I've ever talked to said that Alice Cooper is like a genuinely decent guy, like a
Yeah.
really good man.
I feel bad. It's kind of like I've been in Denver comedy scene since what 2014, and I've never met Dave Chappelle. I feel bad about that. And I lived in Phoenix forever. I never met Alice Cooper. I felt that was kind of weird. Because for a while it seems because when Dave Chappelle kept hitting up Comedy Works, everybody met him, and I felt
Yeah.
like the one dude that didn't meet him. So I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But either way, so the people that he's had on this week, he had on that reporter that was saying that people could still get transmit COVID with even if they were vaccinated, and it didn't protect them from that, and and how Twitter freaking pooted him off. Gosh, what's the guy's name? Hold on, let me find it real quick.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but yeah,
Hold on. I just for the sake of the show.
yeah,
Alex Berenson. Uh,
yeah,
so Alex Berenson sued Twitter and got them to put him back on. He's the first person, from what I understand, who was able to do this. And one of
yeah.
the cool things, did you listen to this episode?
No, I did not.
Okay, so this is the part that you're gonna go fucking full tin hat on me. That one of the things the judge granted him when he allowed him for the case to not be dismissed and move forward is that he said, I'm going to grant you disclosure. So he got every fucking email, every text message from Twitter that had his name on it. And one of the things that was surprising is that the correspondence between somebody in the White House saying, why is he still on your platform? You need to look into this.
Oh, well, okay. Which
And
White House was it? The Biden
it
White
was the
House or the
Biden
Trump
one,
White House?
Biden.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
I think it was. I don't. You know what? Actually, he didn't quite say. That's why. I'm going to take that back. I'm not quite sure, but it
Oh,
was.
oh, wait. If it was it during his whole thing was the vaccine, right?
Yeah.
The vaccine is what he's
So
talking
it
about.
would be the
Then it was
year.
Biden.
Yeah.
It was definitely Biden.
Okay. So
Yeah,
that now his case, because he's still he's back on Twitter, and he's posting all these documents
yeah,
and the correspondence and stuff like that. So he is suing. His next case is to sue the White House, and he's building the case and all this other stuff. And the more he keeps disclosing, because that's the part where they really really got fucked, which is
yeah,
the one thing you want, because it's one thing to say, hey, listen, there is no such thing, the government's not doing this, but when you have proof that, like, no, you were you're asking, it's like strongly suggesting strongly, like, is the guy at Twitter that he was talking to, that Alex Barron was talking to, he's like, I don't see anything wrong with your account.
yeah,
He's like, you're not doing anything you're not, you're backing up everything. You're not doing anything that violates the terms of service. But when they change things to, if you're spreading vaccine hesitancy,
yeah,
that's where they got him on, I guess. Excuse me. So that's going to be super interesting. He also had Mark Zuckerberg on, which I have
yeah,
not listened to that yet, but I saw the one part where he was asking him about the Hunter Biden story. And he says, well, yeah, the FBI came to us and said, hey, there's going to be a lot of freaking Russian propaganda that's coming out. So, you might want to take a, be careful before what you let go on your platform. And one of the things that they fucking censored was the Hunter Biden story. So they kind of admitted that they fucked with it could be taken as that they are admitting that they fucked with the U.S. election by not releasing information or trying to squash stories. But
yeah.
that's the right wing version of saying, like, oh, we got him now. I'm like, I don't know. It seems like if they're like, hey, the FBI came to us and said we should that was another big one.
Yeah.
Who was else did he have on? There was
He had
oh
Aaron Rodgers on. I know
yeah,
that.
Aaron Rodgers is he was on talking about his thing. So it's kind of like in one week, Rogan was like, excuse me for a second. Let me have these conversations. Not like he was trying to get gotcha and like, expose
Yeah.
anybody. I think he legit wanted to have a conversation with everybody. But with Mark Zuckerberg, I have to.
Here's the thing with that, right? Okay, so I get Facebook out of all the platforms is actually has actually done a pretty good job with not censoring.
Yeah.
They're not they're not the best. They fucked up occasionally. They're not, but they're not as bad as Twitter. They're
Mm-hmm.
not as bad as other platforms. You know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, like this is an FBI issue, not a Facebook issue.
Yeah.
Because there's a man, there's a rabbit hole you can go down, and apparently it all. Okay, do you remember Governor Whitmer from Michigan?
Yeah.
Remember that whole
That's the
case where
place
she was
where
gonna get?
there was a couple of guys that were saying they were plotting on kidnapping her and stuff, and
Yeah.
right.
If you read into that, if you read into what happened, because the problem is that like there's like one guy who one normal dude who was involved, and then there was like seven feds. So it was basically an entrapment.
Oh
But
yeah.
they tried everything. They tried everything. They gave him debit cards to go buy ammo with,
Mm.
and he didn't use the money for that. He used it for other shit.
Yeah, just
They
use it for
brought in
drugs.
some like they brought in some hot fucking FBI agent, fucked them to try and convince him to do this, and he was like, nah, I don't know, nah, you know. And they were like, dude, and then finally they just got mad and just arrested him on
Wow.
like conspiracy charges, like they were gonna do it. And then through the actual court case, they realized, no, you guys are just trying to fucking make this guy do something.
Yeah, which FBI is
Yeah.
fucking notorious for, man. There was,
So
I think it was like a special needs guy that they try to convince to fucking blow up a bill, like use a bomb or something.
oh yeah, no, they've done it to dude. They've done it to so many people. There was like a Islamic terrorist guy that they got years ago that like they were trying to talk him into doing something crazy, and he was like, and he was like young, he was like 17, 18 years old,
Yeah.
and they were like, come on, man, come on, man, come on, man. He goes, I don't know, man. I got to talk to my mom and all that. This is how young he was,
Mm.
and I wish I knew the guy's fucking name. But yeah, they that was entrapment like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
So like it's like there's been just too many one-offs to make this not make it, you know.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, right? So the FBI agents who did the Whitmer thing,
Mm-hmm.
those FBI agents, one of them actually got promoted to run the January 6th committee on the FBI side. He's running that.
Okay.
So the guy who basically tried to get the Whitmer thing to happen through very shitty like ways,
Uh-huh.
basically tried to entrap a dude. Now he's running January 6th committee, right?
Nice.
Or he's involved in it.
Nice.
He's involved in like, and then also that same group of FBI people who tried to do the Whitmer thing,
Mm-hmm.
they were the ones who actually raided Trump's house.
Uh.
Not your local Florida FBI division like it should normally go.
Mm-hmm.
It was these special guys from DC that came down and did it.
Uh.
So, in my opinion, is that Biden, I think, is this is what's going on. Is that Trump broke the Democrats so badly that
Mm-hmm.
they felt like it's like this weird like comic book hero good versus evil type of shit.
I got to do whatever I
And
can and fucking
yeah,
in order to get this. Yeah, I agree
even
with
if
that.
I do shady shit, I'm on the right side. You're not. I'm defeating evil. That's what they thought.
Yeah.
So there's FBI agents and shit, and then there's Biden's administration that were like, we got to stop dissent because this and that. Because they again, like I said, they think they're right.
Yeah.
So like they're doing all of this shady ass shit that's just crazy. You raided the ex-president's house.
Mm.
You did a raid on his fucking house, dude. And then like you got like you said with the White House sending emails to Twitter being like, shut this guy up.
Mm.
Like, whoa, like this is insane. Like you guys are going like way above. You guys are doing shit that you feared Trump would do,
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing it to like the 13th level.
Which this makes it totally makes sense because I remember when the president who really fucking ran over everybody's civil liberties and stuff, and that was George W. Bush after 9/11 because
Yes.
for a lot of the youngsters out there, man, I can't tell you, like, if you think everybody was scared with the pandemic, take that whole year and a half and combine it into one day, and it was fucking like fucking people who believed in peace and love turned into people who like we're gonna fucking kill them all, that type of thing. That's how heavy that and it's that
But like
anger
not
that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
but not to defend Bush. I think Bush sucks, but
Okay.
he didn't really try to overtly censor the press at least when it came to that kind of shit.
It
They
didn't have.
may have had like their group of people that they always talk to in Fox News, and that was it. But they weren't sending emails and shit like that to like MSNBC saying get Keith Olbermann off of the fucking show or blah blah blah. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they were doing the Biden administration is doing way worse shit when it comes to that. specific angle.
Well, I think it's
The
just
press thing.
that goalpost kept getting moved farther and farther. So George
Yeah,
Bush fucking moved it farther, right? And then he was but I remember I think I was listening to Air America or something like that. This one lady was like, "Yeah, the Democrats even because after the Democrats took back the House, I think they
yeah,
had the House, right? Or was the House and Senate?" And she's
they got
like,
both.
"Yeah,"
Yeah,
and it was and they're like, the Democrats aren't going to do anything because they know that they're going to want to use the same power for their own shit, and they did it, right? It was just like that that thing when you said is like freaking George Bush created this big huge mega tank to crush everybody's rights, and then he
yeah,
passed the keys off to Obama, and all the people who were for the take before now fucking hate it because somebody else is driving it, and I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, that's one of the things that's it's so fucking crazy. So, um, as we got like 5 more minutes of Zoom time here. I'll just say this: my advice for my political advice is that vote everybody out. Um, don't there's no such thing as party loyalty because they're not loyal to you. All right. Um, it's not the same as
Well,
fucking rooting for a
yeah,
football team. I my whole thing is that listen, I've always voted more liberal than anything. I've never voted for a Republican, but you know what? Every time when somebody says that, hey man, you can't, the other side's gonna win, I'm like, well, did they fuck over Bernie? Was it the Republicans that fucked over Bernie, or was it the Dems? Oh, it
yeah,
was the Dems. You don't get my vote. The
yeah,
closest person who's actually doing a good job right now is Biden because he's trying to fucking buy everybody off some student loan. Which go ahead. I mean,
yeah,
whatever, man. I'll take whatever I can get in order to get these fucking loans down because 8.25 interest for fucking 30 grand and stuff like that other shit. I'm never getting out of that unless I make an extra $800 a month.
yeah,
So but yeah, I would say is it vote against your own self interest this year. That's what I say. Get involved in the
yeah.
midterms. Take a shit in somebody's lawn. Do it. See what happens. So, I don't know, man. Listen, as we're getting out of here, you mind if I get my little quick plug out of the way?
Do it.
Yep. If you guys are interested in stand up comedy and you're in Colorado, anywhere in Colorado, go to CO, as in Colorado, abbreviated Colorado, coopenmics.com, and that's where you have a list of a lot of the open mics from anywhere up to Fort Collins all the way down to Colorado Springs, even I think one or two in Durango. I don't even know if that's one still going, but you know what? They've never said don't put it on there, and nobody, I don't know anybody here that drove all the
Yeah.
way out there and be like, dude, that mic is dead. And I'm like, you fucking went all the way out there? Holy shit. But yeah, you'll find a list and address and stuff and details of all the mics on there. Please go check that out. If you are a comic who's been doing this, I'd say for at least a couple of years, and you think you've got a 15-minute set in you, but you want to work it out. Because normally when it comes to a 15-minute set, the only way you're going to place where you're going to work that out is on a showcase, and you're not sure if it's going to work or not. Well, guess what? Bear and I, we have a mic on Sunday nights over at X Saloon. It's in Lakewood. It's on the website, coopenmics.com, right at the top of the Sunday page. And yeah, fucking come and check us out, man. Come up there. Even if you want to go up there, I mean, we only have like 3 comics a week, but if somebody else shows up and stuff, I haven't turned anybody away yet. So come on by. If more people show up
Right.
than that, I'll be like, all right, we'll just do like 7 or 8 minute sets or whatever. But something more than 3 to 4 minutes. So come check us out. Other than that, I still have my GoFundMe up. I'll put that in the liner notes if you guys want to help out with the medical bills. If you're a fan of the show,
Right.
you've noticed there's less of me now than there was a couple of episodes ago. You're like, holy shit, did that guy dry 60 pounds? Like, yes, he did, and it
Yeah.
wasn't
Not,
fun.
it was a very like, intense way, but yeah,
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 that's the only way I do shit, man. I gotta be intense, son. That's what I gotta
yeah.
do. So, but other than that, that's the only thing we got to plug. There's more shit coming down the road. I'm figuring out, and I'll talk to Jake. I'll talk to you about this off there. Um, I'm starting to adjust a little bit more to my new life because it's not the same the one that I had before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things where I'm figuring out how to make things and how to make time for certain shit and stuff. But either way, guys, thanks for watching the show. We appreciate it. Let's see, who are the hidden people that we're watching? Let's see. Spambot, he was watching? No. Let's see.
Whoa.
Just kidding. Alien Gathering, Anna Banana 10, Commander Root, which I think that Lurks, which actually was another person who actually followed me a long time ago. Nat Zelly and Sophia Fox 21. I don't know if you guys are real or bots, but I appreciate you even dropping in. Next time, feel free to say hi. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add before we head out of here, sir?
Just don't take shit so seriously.
There you go. Don't take shit so seriously. Have a great week, guys.
See you.